I'm going to describe South America, but first off point out some key characteristics when we think about it in relation to the other parts of the Americas. First off, South America, yes, it is south, but is actually east of much of the rest of the Americas. And so we can see that here in the case of South America is essentially most of the continent is actually east of Northern America and most of the United States. And so think about time zone. They are in a time zone that's ahead of the Eastern time. So that's just something to keep in mind when we think about South America. Where does South America begin? It begins here at the border of Panama and Colombia, but these borders aren't really well defined. Central America probably spills a little bit over here into South America, into Colombia and Venezuela, and vice versa with South America spilling over. Why do I say that? We look at a lot of migration, also a lot of trade, also a lot of narcotics, a lot of similar politics that we see here in these areas that are on both sides of quote-unquote Middle and South America. But we extend out, we can see some colors. That's why I'm showcasing this map that really are important to understanding South America. This vast area here, of course, is the Amazon rainforest. Not a highly dense populated area. Well, maybe not for long. So what we also have is this long mountain range, the Andes mountain range, which goes all the way along the western backbone of South America. I'll come back and I'll talk more about that in the physical geography, but what do you know? We got a trench located right here parallel to this mountain range. So you can go ahead and bet your bottom dollar we've got convergent plates going on there. But what's important about the Andes Mountains is it's helped to distinguish or separate different cultural groups, different groups from one side to the other, and thus while we have, I would argue, more countries in South America than we do on the other side, Northern America, where we only have 2 countries. Key to understanding that is you have different cultural groups who are isolated, particularly over here on the western side of the Andes Mountains. And so we can see that in this border here. We have this border here between countries, Chile and Argentina, Chile and Bolivia, Peru and Bolivia, and so Peru and Brazil. And so the role of the Andes Mountains is definitely in terms of isolating different groups. This is one of the many reasons we don't just see 1 or 2 countries that dominate the entire continent like we do in Northern America. Of course, now we move on a little bit more. We've got the big country of Brazil in terms of land area, but also economic. So we look at South America, its economic core is Brazil, and to a certain extent, these other core countries located in what they call the southern cone of South America. So these core countries, Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil, Chile, on average have a little bit better GDP per capita, a little better life expectancies, so thus a little bit more development than places a little bit farther to the north. Other things to mention are there are some landlocked countries like Paraguay and Bolivia, so that's something to keep in mind. Of course, tensions could escalate, but at the moment, things are fairly peaceful on South America, on the continent in terms of country versus country. Now, with that being said, there is a lot of violence happening within the country in terms of gangs, in terms of actual civilian versus civilian crime, which is very, very rampant, which is going to be a key theme in the terms of discussions of South America, but also Middle America.